Welcome to Elise Jade Nourish. Move well, nourish deeply. When you're ready, roll out your mat. Take a deep breath in. We will begin shortly. Welcome to your full body release class. When you're ready to get started, come on over into hands and knees position. We're going to inhale, extend the spine, open the chest. Exhale, scoop and round, cat-cow. Inhale, open, push the sternum forward. Exhale, belly in, push the floor away with the hands and knees as you round. Big breath in, filling the lungs with air, extend. Exhale, emptying the lungs and round. Last once, inhale. Exhale and come through neutral. Step your right foot back, tuck your toes under, flex the foot and point. Flex and point. Starting to warm up into the ankle, creating a little bit of mobility here and some length through the calf, through the Achilles. We're going to flex and press back, exhale, point, and flex and point. Now tuck the toes under, start to lift your hips and come into a downward facing dog. Pedal out through the feet, bending and stretching one leg at a time. Or maybe you like to sway the hips, so holding the legs a little bit straighter and just moving the hips side to side. Whatever feels right for your body. And then we're going to lift the left leg, bend the left knee, bringing the heel close to your bottom, and start to circle the left knee around, getting into that hip joint. So big circles in one direction with the left knee. And then when you're ready, reverse the circles. So 3 big circles in the opposite direction. So we've got a beautiful stretch down the back of the right leg and we're creating mobility into that left hip. Open again into 3-legged dog and then bring that left foot down, keep the left knee bent and open into your flip dog. So your right leg is straight, you're squeezing your glutes, your left hand reaches and your right hand pushes the floor away as you extend the spine. Make sure you're squeezing the glutes to protect the low back. And then land the left hand, come back through downward facing dog. Again, pedaling out the feet or swaying or just holding in stillness. And then when you're ready, lift the left foot up, cross the left ankle across the right thigh, bend the left knee and sit it into a child's pose. So your left leg is in a figure 4 stretch with the ankles sitting over the right thigh and your hips are moving towards your right heel. So we're getting a beautiful release into the low back and into the left hip. If this is too much, you could take a regular figure 4 or a regular child's pose. And then make your way forward. We're going to come into pigeon pose now. So lift the back knee, bring your left shin forward so it's more parallel to the front edge of the mat. It doesn't need to be fully parallel, but as far as you're comfortable, open and extend through the body and start to lower down, if that's okay for you, into pigeon. So just a couple of notes. Your right leg is centered down the middle of your mat, so try not to have it kind of sticking off to the right side. Your right hip is dialing down, so we don't want to be rolling onto the left hip. We want to try and keep that right hip bone pointing down to the mat. And the further you bring the left shin to parallel to that short edge, the deeper the stretch will be in the hip. So if you need to modify, bring the heel in towards your pelvis. Great. And if you're at home and you have a pillow handy, you could also put a pillow under your hips to modify as well. Lifting up when you're ready, tuck your back toes. We're going to Extend through the front leg, so keeping your left foot where it is, getting a big stretch for the IT band, and then lowering back into pigeon. Exhale, lift, keeping that left foot where it is, extending the left and right legs, and lower back down into pigeon. Exhale, lift, feel that stretch on the outside of the left leg, squaring up the hips. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Now we're going to hold this here. So it's kind of halfway between a downward dog and just a regular IT stretch, IT band stretch. And you're going to feel this big time down the outside of that left leg. Okay, if this feels too intense, come into a figure 4, come back into pigeon, or just come into a regular downward facing dog. Otherwise, hold and breathe, and then step your left leg back into a downward facing dog and take a breath here. Maybe add some movement, pedaling out through the legs. Maybe hold in stillness, and then come on down to the knees. Keep your hips stacked over your knees and walk your hands away from you into an upward facing dog, either forehead or chin down on the mat. So beautiful stretch for the upper body, opening through the shoulders, extending through the spine. Great, and just make sure your hips are directly above your knees, so you're not too far forward or too far back. And then bend at the elbows if you like. Take your hands into prayer and bring your hands behind the back of the head. This will get deeper into the triceps, but you may find that you need to rest the forehead on the mat here if you did have the chin on the mat beforehand. Beautiful. Release the hands down when you're ready. Peel on up through kneeling position, and we're going to even out the sides. So coming forward and through, step your left foot back this time. You're going to flex and point. So flex and point. As you push the heel away, you should feel that calf stretch. Point, flex, and point. So great mobility, great way to start to lengthen into that calf, into the Achilles. And then when you're ready, push back, tuck the other toes under, and lift your hips, downward facing dog, adding any movement that suits your body here today. And then stretching a little deeper, maybe swaying out through the hips. Again, just listening to your body, just meeting your body where it is today. Not forcing anything that doesn't feel right for you. And then sweep your right leg up, three-legged dog. Bend the right knee, heel to bottom, and start to circle that right knee around. So getting into the hip. Big circles, opening and bringing the knee down. All the way around, open the hips and reverse. Again, your version here, make the circles as big or as small as you like. Add as much movement here as you want. And then hold it open and start to take the right foot over, keeping the right knee bent and extending the left leg. Sweeping the right hand around into your flip dog. So squeeze through the glutes, lift through the chest, extending through the spine. Beautiful big opening. If this is much too much, you could just stay in your three-legged dog. And then come back into your downward facing dog, breathing nice and deep. And then we take the right leg over for that figure 4, so ankle crossing across the left thigh, and then sitting your hips back to child's pose, or a child's pose-like position. Your back toes could be tucked or untucked, depending on what's comfortable for your body. And again, if this doesn't feel right, you could just go into a regular figure 4 or a regular child's pose. The benefit of this is though that we get that release into the low back and a little deeper into the hip at the same time. So breathe nice and deep. And then if you want a little more, lift your back knee, take your right shin forward, coming into pigeon pose. Inhale, open the body. Exhale, maybe you start to walk your hands down to get a little deeper of a stretch. Your left leg should be centered down the mat. Again, you want to keep the hips quite square, or as square as possible, so trying to keep that left hip dialed down. If you want to intensify, move your shin further away from your body. If you need to modify, bring it back in towards the pelvis a little more. And then we just breathe. Inhale. And exhale. Softening, melting onto your mat. The more we can relax here, the more the muscles can let go into these positions. Nice. When you're ready, start to lift. Walk your hands in a little bit closer to your body. Tuck your back toes, keep your right foot where it is, and lift your hips. Now that right leg might not straighten, and that's okay. And then bend and sit back into pigeon. So exhale, lift as high as you comfortably can here. Ideally extending the leg, but also completely okay if you're not getting there, as long as you're feeling the stretch. And again, we lift. Inhale, lower. And then when you're ready, we're going to lift and hold. So square up the hips. Try not to let the body rotate too much here. So think about pulling the right hip back to intensify that stretch across the outside of the right leg. Let the body soften. And again, options here, you could come into a regular down dog. You could come back into a figure 4 stretch. Whatever your body needs to feel a stretch that's right for you today. Step that leg back, coming into downward facing dog. Stretching through the body and then lowering the knees and sitting your way back to child's pose. Hips to heels, fingertips lengthening away from you. Gently, gently releasing into the low back. And then take your left hand toward your left heel. Reach your right hand off the left side of your mat, stretching more into the right side of the body now, more into the right side of the low back. And again, just surrender a little bit here, softening to the floor. And switch. Left hand reaches over to the right side of the mat, right hand down alongside the foot. And breathe. You can creep the left fingertips away from you a little further if you need a little more length. And then soften into the pose. Come back through center into a regular child's pose. And then lift up through quadruped. Reach your right hand up. And exhale, thread the needle. So reach your right hand underneath the left side of your body. Look towards your right fingertips and then push through your left hand, so the grounded hand, so that you can open a little more into rotation and feel a beautiful stretch between your shoulder blades and across the outside of your right shoulder. Great. Land the right hand and reach up through the left fingertips, open the chest. And then when you're ready, thread the needle. Left hand through, push into your right hand, so that grounded palm, to deepen the stretch, to deepen the rotation through the spine. Keep the hips stacked above the knees and just breathe. Add a little more pressure through the right hand if you need. Great, and then come back through center. And then we're going to come forward into upward facing dog. So flip onto the tops of the feet, open the chest, look over past your left shoulder, trying to keep the hips lifted, and then look over your right shoulder. Push into the hands, push into the tops of the feet, keep those hips lifted. Come back through center, lower the knees, and sit back to child's pose. Round the spine, lift the hips, push into the tops of the feet and the hands, up dog. Exhale, child's pose. 2 more. Round, mobilizing through the spine. Inhale and open. Exhale and sit it back. Let's go 1 more like this. Inhale and open. Exhale, knees lower. Child's pose. Now keep going with this, or to make it a little bit more challenging, you're going to lift the hips, keep the toes tucked and feel a stretch on the shins, and then lower back to upward facing dog. So exhale, lift the hips, keep the toes tucked, feel that stretch on the feet and on the shins, and then lower the hips down, back to upward facing dog. Exhale, lead with the hips into the down dog variation with the toes tucked. Open, up dog. Exhale, push back, keep those toes under, stretch into the feet, and then release into a regular downward facing dog. Bend through the knees, tuck the toes, sit once more into child's pose here, just breathing deeply, letting your body know it can soften again. Inhaling into the belly. And exhale, softening down towards the floor. Inhale, big deep breath into the belly. Filling the belly, filling the lungs with air, and exhale, melting heavy on the mat. Rolling up onto your knees now when you're ready. Let's take 2 lengthening breaths. Inhale, hands sweep wide and up. Exhale, let it go. 1 more like this. Inhale, sweep the hands wide and up. Stretch up through your fingertips. Exhale, let it go. Thank you so much for joining me here today, guys. I hope you feel a little bit more stretched out, and I'll see you soon. Bye. If this practice supported you, please join me anytime. Like and subscribe to stay up to date with new content. On Elise, Jade, Nourish.